How's it going, everybody? This is Alex Caceres, and you're listening to Story of the Fight.
Thank you for the intro, Alex Caceres. What's up, Will?
What up, what up?
What is up, everybody? Welcome to Story of the Fight. My name's Ramiro. That's my boy, Will. And this is where we talk all things mixed martial arts. And last night, there were some martial arts.
Martial arts.
Yes, so we are here to talk about it today. Before we get going, I just want to mention to you, Will, in case you don't know what we're covering. We had Blanchfield versus Manon Fiorot. A couple of other... That was the main event, by the way. You might be thinking, was that the first fight on the card? That was the main event. It was in Atlantic City. Yeah. But before we get going on that, no, it is not. You would think, but no. Before we get going into that, though, I want to let everybody know we're trying to reach 13,000 subscribers. Just a couple weeks ago, we're saying we're trying to reach 12,000. Thank you to everybody for your support. We're trying to reach 13,000 now. Please like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Goes a long way. And if you don't like watching on YouTube, which we highly suggest, but you like listening elsewhere, where can they find us, Will?
Yeah, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, anywhere podcasts are found. Follow us on social media at Story of the Fight on pretty much everything: Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Reddit, Twitch. You can watch on Twitch. Storyofthefight.com will list all those links. It'll also have our merch if you want to buy that sick ass hoodie that Ramiro's wearing. It's on there.
Sick ass hoodie, indeed, absolutely.
We should change the name to that.
Sick ass hoodie.
Sick ass hoodie.
Hey, shout out Colleen. Shout out Gans Cal. Thank you for joining us early.
Hey, happy Easter, huh?
Happy Easters to everybody.
He is risen.
Yes.
And by he, I mean Chris Weidman.
Holy smokes. I love the way that you tied in the holiday with some very recent events. That was good. That was really good. Hey, let's get going straight into it, man. Last night we had UFC Fight Night, UFC Vegas. Oh, no, it wasn't UFC Vegas. It was UFC Fight Night. What number was it?
Felt like it, huh? It was just Atlantic City. I'm just going to go UFC Atlantic City.
Look, let's be real here. It was a Apex card.
I think something happened here. I think this might have been remember when the UFC had the Saudi event and they were like, do you want Mohammed Makayev in the main event? And then they were like, no. And they're like, well, how about Shamil Gaziev? And they're like, no. And then they're like, okay, we'll make a new card for you. And then they moved it to the Apex, but it had John Anik because he was signed on for the Saudi Arabia card at the Apex. John Anik doesn't make sense. But then also the time zone, it started at 10 o'clock in the morning because they couldn't shift any of that stuff because of the broadcasting. This one did not have John Anik. It had Brandon Fitzgerald, and Brandon Fitzgerald normally is an Apex guy, and it also started at 4 p.m. Pacific. The main event, when they walked out, it was 1 a.m. in Atlantic City. Something tells me this was supposed to be an Apex event that they somehow moved.
Something tells me maybe the lineup on the cards, maybe the card itself. Something tells me. Hey, shout out Genevieve. Happy Easter to you as well. Thank you for joining us. So yes. Genevieve saying the prelims were so good. I can't believe what a letdown the main card was. Yeah, I would agree that the prelims were probably stronger. But look, we'll get going. Erin Blanchfield versus Manon Fiorot.
I think it's just Fior. They used to call her Fiorot. Everybody was calling her Fior.
Fiorot. I mean, come on, let's go.
Yeah.
What?
Manon.
Look, Rich is going to go through the pictures right now. And through maybe 2 or 3 pictures, you're going to see exactly what happened.
For the whole fight. Whoa, look at that. It caught your thumbs up.
Oh, it did it?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It already did.
So, yes. Erin Blanchfield, they're in the center of the octagon. Blanchfield is doing these small bursts, where she goes straight into Manon Fiorot. Fior. And she takes a step back and hits her with a right check hook, right? Every once in a while, right check hook, straight left. But she'd continue bouncing back as soon as Blanchfield would blitz in with a little combo, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this happened over and over and over again. Now, there's a small portion in that first round where there's a little bit of clinching, a little bit of grappling. But then as the fight goes on, Fiorot was like, I'm stronger than she is.
Yeah.
So every time she just tries to clinch, I'm going to just shimmy her off and toss her off to the side. which she did 2 or 3 times in the later rounds. And then Blanchfield was like, okay, look, I can't just go in and grab this girl. Like, I have to try to stand my ground and continue blitzing in, getting tagged as I'm blitzing in, and hopefully I land something that's really strong. In the 5th round, she goes and she goes for a head kick. Blanchfield goes for a head kick, right? Because they're like, you got to take her out. You got to knock her out. That's it. Like, you got to finish her. And Blanchfield's walking out there. Hey, props to her. She walks out thinking, I might be able to finish her. Mm-hmm. Everybody watching was like, okay, no, it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
And so she goes for a head kick, and it barely slaps Fior. Yeah. And the announcer was like, whoa, she just head kicked her. And Minot's like, nah, I'm just going to continue stepping back and just jabbing your face off and just catching you with that check hook. And that was the fight.
Yeah. And Blunderbubb says it's French, half the vowels don't count. So maybe it is Fior. Fior. But yeah. Look, Genevieve says after the first round, I felt like I felt like I was watching a warm-up spar at a local gym. No one was hunting for a finish. Yeah, I think. Look, a lot of times there's fighters who they're grapplers, right? Erin Blanchfield is a grappler. Clearly, she's not a striker, and they struggle to set up their takedowns with their hands, right? And she was trying to set it up with her hands. But there was never, up until the 4th round, there was no consequence to what she was throwing with her hands that sets up the take. Like, what you want to do to set up a takedown with your hands is you want to come in like that and throw a combo, and then as they go to defend that combo, you duck under and you shoot, right? You don't have to defend
setting it up.
Yeah, you don't have to defend these combinations, because there's nothing on them. They were always just a distraction for the takedown. So Manon just never had to respect them and could just step back, check hook, step back, jab, step back, jab, cross. I mean, it was just rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. And Blanchfield really never tried to do anything else until that 4th round, where halfway through the 4th round, she did blitz her and actually dig in with her feet. And it wasn't just to set up a takedown. There was those marching punches like Vitor Belfort used to do. But it was like marching punches, but you're in a dream. Like, you're dreaming you're Vitor when you can't throw the punch. You know when you're dreaming and you try to throw punches and you're just like, wow. It was like that, And finally, she actually was like, I'm going to go in with the intent to land these punches and not just disguise a takedown. And they mix it up a little bit, and all of a sudden the crowd was like, "Oh, do we have a fight?" And then back to just the dream punches, and you're like, "Oh no, we're sleeping. It's 1 a.m. here, and we're sleeping." Maybe that's what happened. Maybe that was just Blanchfield sleepwalking because it was 1 a.m.
No, I don't think so.
No disrespect.
I think look. So I've been online just trying to see other people's takes around the fight, right? And there's this guy online that's like, well, they should just take women's fighting off of MMA in general. And I was like, wait, time out. And then the response on there was somebody that was like, oh, yeah, so you mean to tell me that Shevchenko versus Grasso isn't good? And it's like, okay, there's a couple problems here.
Yeah.
One, that we automatically go to Shevchenko Grasso, and outside of that, there's not much else. Everybody's going to say Shevchenko Grasso. But the second thing is, that's Jean Willie, and that's about it. But
bro, we got to turn these fucking Apple camera things off. All of a sudden, there's just a bunch of balloons on your screen, dude. I don't know what you did with your hands, but it was just.
I don't know. So I'm gonna stop using my hands.
Look, women's MMA sucks as balloons come up.
Balloons everywhere. No, but the thing is that if you want to watch good women's MMA right now, go to one.
Whoa.
Watch one, and you will be blown away by the skill level. Women's Muay Thai.
Yeah.
The way that they step in with those elbows, dude. Give me Stan Fairtex. Give me Angela Lee. You know, like all these elite fighters that we're seeing in one right now. That the problem isn't women's MMA. The problem is the roster in the UFC right now. That's the problem. Because there's good women's MMA out there.
Saika Izawa in Ryzen, one of the coolest, most fun fighters to watch. She'll get taken down, and she'll just frame off and just bring her legs up and just up kick you in the face from guard. It's fucking awesome. You can't even do that in the UFC.
Can you imagine seeing some of the one Muay Thai women's fighters in there with an Erin Blanchfield last night as she's blitzing in like that? They're going to be like, let me meet you with this elbow right up the middle, See you later.
That's what I wish. That was the biggest thing with Manon is like, yeah, the check hook's good, but she clearly doesn't have the power in her hands to like flatline somebody. And like the answers were good. Yeah, Genevieve says felt like there was no power behind any of the punches. It was there, like the combos were there. You want when someone's running in on you, you want a check hook. You want to meet them with a cross. You want a dipping jab, right? That's what you want to do. But if you're not getting the results of there was no point where Erin Blanchfield really was like, I can't keep running in or I'm going to get knocked out. She could just keep running in.
Yeah.
It would have been cool to see her mix up front kicks to the body. She was throwing a side kick to the body, but that's not really going to do much damage. The front kick up the middle was there the whole fight to the face. I was like, dude, Blanchfield is running at you squared stance, flailing her arms. Just snipe a front kick up. She's going to run right into it. Or like you said, an intercepting elbow, something like that, like something with a little bit more impact, especially when you're up 4 rounds or something. It's like,
Yeah, and so I'm taking a look at the flyweight division. Again, you had Erin Blanchfield, and shout out Ganskow. He says, I understand the importance of this fight, but you knew this would be a 5-round snoozer. And you're right. You have Erin Blanchfield that's ranked number 2 in the flyweight division. You have Manon Fiorot, who's ranked 3rd. And so, yes, it's an important matchup because we're trying to see who gets
this is a title eliminator.
Title contention, Yeah. But when we're talking about one of these two women possibly going up against, can you imagine either one of them against Shevchenko?
Bro, Manon Fiorot versus Shevchenko might be worse than Esparza Rose. Just 2 counter strikers refusing to engage. Manon versus Grasso is a better fight. I because of this fight. Yeah. I think Grasso can be. But I think with Manon winning this fight, I hope to God Grasso beats Shevchenko in the rematch and the trilogy, because I do not want to see Shevchenko versus Manon, dude. That is rough. That's a rough one.
And Maisie Barber's up there too. Look, Maisie Barber's been getting more exciting.
She needs to win
her last few fights. Jessica Andrade is still over there. Holy smoke! How old is she?
Blanchfield just beat her. She just finished her.
Yeah.
So like Maisie Barber, maybe you do Barber versus Rose. They're both coming off wins. Manon got a title shot with this, but the problem is now they're doing Ultimate Fighter. Who asked for Ultimate Fighter with Shevchenko Grasso as the coaches? People didn't watch it with Chandler Connor. You think that's gonna? You think people are gonna watch this season? They've boiled that fight, that show down to just complete garbage. But they're filming that, and then they're gonna fight in September. So what does Manon do? She just earned a title shot. Does she wait until like December or January?
I don't know. I feel depressed talking about this fight.
It's rough, man. It's rough. And dude, Blanchfield needs to find a new gym. That's the real thing. She's been at the same gym for like 16 years. She's like 24. And then there's no other real – there's like one other girl that's really good there, but it's like, dude, you need to get to a camp that can teach you, because she's very skilled when she gets into the ground. She's so fun to watch on the ground, right? But like, man, you cannot just be running at people, especially a counter striker like that. You got to – sometimes I wish fighters would just wait. Remember when Nick Diaz fought Anderson Silva, and Anderson was trying to do the thing where he's like puts his back against the cage so he can hit you with that check hook as you come in, and Nick is just like standing there like, nah, I'm not going to be that guy. You are going to have to come down on the octagon. And then the ref is like yelling at Nick for not engaging. It's like, bro, you want him to just walk into the spider web, dude? Sometimes when there's such a counter striker, Shevchenko, Manon, Anderson Silva, who are just like pure counter strikers, sometimes I wish the opponents would just sit there and be like, all right, come to me. And that's what happened with Izzy versus Yoel Romero, right? Everybody hated that fight because they were just standing in front of each other. But that's because Izzy's like, I'm not blitzing Yoel Romero. It's not going to happen.
Not the smart thing to do.
No. And so, instead of that, Erin Blanchfield just walked at her like Vitor Belfort in a dream and got lit up the whole time. And
you can walk straight into a counter striker like Paulo Costa did with Izzy.
Yeah, you can try that.
How'd that go?
Yeah. Yeah, worked pretty well, huh?
Oh man, I'm sure that the secret juice has improved since then, though. So he might do a little bit.
Yeah,
better.
We're gonna talk about that. We're gonna talk about some secret juice coming up.
Oh, I'm excited. I always like talking about the juice. All right. Do you have anything else on the main event? Ganskow says this may be the season that kills tough. Do you remember
which one? They've
God,
killed
it
it a
was
couple times.
Rampage, the Rampage season.
Rashad Evans, I think, right?
Oh, that was
When he
so
broke
much
down the
fun.
door.
Yes, that was a
Bro,
blast, man.
Tough used to be so good. Here's how you fix Tough, if anybody's listening. And people may disagree, but right now, Tough in its current state is, let's say me and Ramiro are on the show, right? We're
Oh.
fighters on the show. We're on opposite teams. They're like, all right,
different
this
weight
fight
classes. They have to have 2 separate weight classes going at the same time.
Yeah, they're like, okay, first, no, it's open weight. First, first episode is the draft, right? And the teams get picked, and that automatically decides who's fighting for the rest of the season. That's awful. Right away, what are we doing? Yeah. Then, so me and you get matched up, and now it's episode 3, and it's our episode to fight. It's a 45-minute show without commercials. They spend 20 minutes on my backstory that nobody gives a fuck about. And then half of it is just me talking to the camera like this, and then 20 minutes on your backstory where you're talking to the camera, and then we fight at the end. And it's like, dude, nobody wants to sit through 30 minutes of just 2 guys talking to the camera that nobody cares about to see them fight at the end in a terrible fight. What they need to do is, first episode is the draft. They draft, and then whoever picks second picks the first fight. They pick the first fight, then we have the first fight. Great. Next episode, fucking team challenges. Bring back the team challenges again.
Oh, yeah.
People are like, oh, it's not a team sport. So they got rid of it. And it's like, at least it's entertaining to watch. Are we not making a TV show? Make the team challenge. Whoever wins that, they decide who fights. And then you have the fight at the end of it. It's like, yeah, it sounds like Survivor. Who knew Survivor was a good template for a show? They've been on for fucking 30 years. Meanwhile, Tough is like, you're making documentaries about guys nobody knows about. Give me the fucking team stuff, and then that determines who fights. So you have a reason to watch up until the fight. Right now, you could just skip the whole fucking 40 minutes and just go to the end and watch the fight and be like, damn, that was a regional fight that I just watched.
Rough.
Easy solutions here. Easy stuff.
Those,
but that takes effort.
Because my favorite episode was always the coaches challenge.
Yeah, it's awesome.
So much fun. When Connor and Uriah Faber were launching those watermelons.
The watermelons?
The helicopter, and you're kind of like, like, dude, it was so much fun.
Bisping and Mayhem Miller, were they playing ping pong or something? And then Bisping is rubbing it in his face that he won, and he falls off the table. And then so Mayhem laughs so hard that nothing comes out because he just can't breathe. It's so good, dude. Jens Pulver, BJ Penn playing ping pong. Ping pong was a solid choice there, huh?
Easy.
They did 2 ping pong episodes, I think, and both of them were good.
What was it? The rock climbing one with Misha Tate and Ronda, when Ronda's like flipping her off the entire way down.
Oh, yeah, dude.
Do you remember that? And Misha's like very classy.
Yeah.
So good. All right. We spent more time talking about Tough than we did about the actual fight, I think.
It happens.
All right. Before that, we had the co-main event. We had Joaquin Buckley versus Vicente Luque. Yeah, co-main.
Look, I saw someone on Reddit was like a couple days ago was like, this is crazy to me that the odds are this close. Like, Luque is clearly the higher level fighter than Buckley, and I was like, well, Luque struggled against an aging RDA in his last fight. He had brain bleed from the fight before that, a brain hemorrhage from the fight before that, and Buckley is just a berserker. And he doesn't cut off the cage at all, but it doesn't matter. When there's 15 minutes and you're an aging veteran on the decline who had a brain hemorrhage, who couldn't handle the stand-up of RDA, really, the chances of getting clipped are pretty high. And to be honest, the first round, Luque did decently. He did better than I thought he was going to, if I'm being honest. I thought Buckley was just going to blitz at him and crack him at some point. And he ate some shots like this in the first round, and he did some veteran stuff in there. I liked his shot selection, and he did a good job of like negating the damage from Buckley, and he made Buckley just chase him the whole time. And Buckley's just wasting so much energy jumping around left and right, and then not committing to it. And you're like, well, that's wasted energy, just over and over and over again. But then, it was the second round, right? Yeah, second round, they kind of clash for like a grappling exchange. Luque just kind of pulls guard, and then, but doesn't.
Perfect timing, Rich.
Yeah.
He's good.
He just kind of accepts the position and goes to a knee shield, and he gets to a hip, but then he doesn't go for a sweep. He doesn't just kick him off. He doesn't wrap him up into guard. He just kind of stays in that knee shield position while Buckley is just swinging on him. And like, I mean, yeah, I don't know what. I think he was just done. I think he's done.
Look, man, and the thing is, Ganskow says Vicente quit. He no longer has a dog. It's sad. I was thinking about this last night. Oh, dude, he was one of the. Every time that Luque was on, it was a guaranteed banger. It didn't matter who he was fighting. But when you're
banger,
it goes way beyond just being a fighter. And it's, I think, natural human tendency to just want to live, and when you put yourself in a situation.
Be for yourself.
Where you, you put yourself in a situation and you start getting a brain hemorrhage from your job that you continue putting yourself into, there's got to be something inside of you that holds you back going forward. Like there's got to be 100%. Something, that natural human instinct that says like, hey, we're in survival mode here. Like we got close before, like we're in this situation again. Like let's not.
Yeah.
And I can only imagine, man. Like I can't blame Vicente Luque.
No.
He was so much fun to watch the last few years, and I hope that he rides off into the sunset and finds something that he absolutely loves to do. But man, I just don't think fighting's it anymore.
No. Prime for prime, Vicente Luque, I think, beats Buckley pretty easily.
Oh, easy.
But it's just not, he's just not that anymore. And then you, like you said, you have to think, if you're not that anymore, if you're well past your prime, you had brain bleed, something that is really uncommon in the UFC, despite all the damage people take. That's like, you've taken maybe the worst damage than most. Like, why would you keep going if it's not just because like I need to earn money and this is really the only option I have? Mm-hmm. Outside of that, it's like, I don't know, dude.
It's tough, man. It's tough. Yeah, so I wish Vicente Luque nothing but the best. Congratulations to Joaquin Buckley on the victory. He continues his ascension throughout the welterweight division. This is the right division for him now.
Yeah, 100%. It's crazy that he was fighting in middleweight.
Yeah.
He didn't even look like crazy bigger than Luque, and it's like, what were you doing at 185? Dude? But that kind of comes with just like coming into the UFC young and not really having a real camp and all that stuff. So it's like, this is where I feel good. Now he's kind of found like a real legitimate camp that can help guide him and in his career, and be like, hey, dude, you're not a middleweight. you need to go down.
Yeah, man. Ganskow mentions, that the fact that he's fought tough fighters his entire career. Vicente Luque has.
Dude.
I mean, Leon Edwards, Nico Price, Jalen Turner, Barberena. Dude, anybody fighting Barberena. Do you remember that fight?
That was a banger, dude.
Oh, my God.
That was so good.
He fought Mike Perry? Come on, dude.
Yeah, that was a banger, too. He was the one that, smashed his nose.
Bare Knuckle King, Stephen Thompson, Tyron Woodley, Michael Chiesa, man. But, again, Bilal Muhammad, Jeff Neal, Rafael Dos Anjos, he's been fighting some very tough competition for a while, man. So,
yeah, dude.
All respect to Luque.
In his debut.
All respect to Luque. All right. Are you ready to move on to the people's main event?
In the first round, huh? Yeah, this is the one. Yeah, let's fucking go, dude.
All right. We had Will's boy, Chris Weidman versus Bruno Silva. What you think, Will?
He's still my boy. I don't give a fuck about the content now.
Dude, you sound like his dad.
Yeah, dude. I got, shout out Brian. I'm not going to take it out right now, but I got his walkout shirt from, I think the Jacare fight, signed by Weidman. My brother got it.
That's so sick.
Pretty sick. I've always been a big Weidman fan. Dude.
Put in the background.
Oh, I know. It's just like, I don't know. I need a house. I need this is just like this is just a side room. You know what I mean? I can't. I'm running out of shit to put on the wall. But look, Weidman's always been my boy. I know he's controversial for a lot of people, and this does not help. This maybe hurts way more. But look, USADA's gone.
Is that Keith Jardine in the background?
That's Travis Brown, dude.
I like it. Oh, my bad.
No. Look, he's always been my boy. I will defend him always. That being said, sometimes you make a mistake, and you choose the wrong path. But USADA's gone. He could take punches again, and he looked fucking awesome. Dude, this was for a while. I was like, this is fucking vintage Chris Weidman, because the brain has always been, he's a very good fighter mentally. He's mentally strong, dude. Mentally strong as hell. You hear about how he was bullied as a kid by his older brothers and stuff. Like, dude, brutal stuff. Like, pushed him out of trees and shit. Like, it's bad, dude.
They sound evil.
Dude, it's rough, dude. When he was champ, he did an interview where he was talking about it, and I was just like, God damn, I'm so glad this guy's a champion. Like, he's such a good champion to have. And he knocked out Anderson Silva. It was a shock the world moment. It'll live in history. And then Silva snapped his leg against him, and then the Lyoto fight was awesome. The Vitor, he ran through Vitor post USADA, or no, in USADA. That was like the big, we're in USADA now, the USADA era. He ushered him in with Vitor Belfort. And then, he's struggled so much ever since that Rockhold fight. Also, classic fight. It was insane, a pure insane fight. And the way it was stopped was so brutal, and he was kind of never recovered from that. But you could see the skill set was still there. Like, he's still so good, but you would get caught. Everybody gets caught. And then if your chin holds on, you can keep fighting, obviously. And
dude, he took some shots last night.
Yeah, he took some shots, and Bruno Silva hits like a truck, dude.
Dude, there's this one where like Silva just threw this like long straight right, and it just catches Chris Weidman like right around the end of the shot, and you see his entire head just whip off to the side, and he just turns and looks back at Weidman and just resets, not dazed at all, nothing. And I was like, oh, thank God, USADA's gone.
We back. And in this fight, one of the things that worked really well for him, they would go open stance, and he would throw that left hand first, southpaw, and then he'd switch real quick. We'll get to this picture in a second, but in that first round, he did such a good job of when they're in the closed stance, he would they were pawing at each other with their lead hands, and in that situation, you always want your hand on top of the other guy's hand because they have to then, with their lead hand, that's what they're doing basically, right? And you want your lead hand on top so you can bring it up for a jab or a hook. And if you're below, you need to either lead with your rear hand, which is in a closed stance, not the best option. And in order to land your lead hand, you have to get your hand above first. You can't punch through their hand, right? So he did such a good job of maintaining that top control with his hand in the hand play. He was able to land that left hook, able to land the jab. But unfortunately, that game also required him to have his fingers outstretched, and he got real comfortable with that and landed some eyepokes, but we'll talk about that. First round, cracks Bruno Silva a couple times, lands a left high kick to start the fight, and I was like, hell yeah. And then hits him a couple times, gets him against the fence, nice knees. That's pretty much it. Round ends, they go to the corner. Rich, you could bring that picture up. Ray Longo cursing up a storm on national TV, and they throw up the "we apologize for any offensive language you may have heard" while we're watching people beat the shit out of each other. It's crazy. Classic. And Ray Longo is just so good in the corner, dude. He's like, "Where the fuck is Wonder Boy?" Wonder Boy's like, "I'm right here, dude." It's so funny, dude. I love it. Second round, banger of a round, huh?
Yeah. This is when Silva starts extending his combos, man.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
They were just cracking each other, and Weidman's chin was there for it. There's a picture in here that I slipped in where he's like almost smiling as he's in the fire.
Oh,
and I'm like, dude, Weidman is back right here. And yeah, come on, dude, just loving life in there. But then he does eye poke him in the second round, and they have to stop it, and it's a bad one. And then I mean, that's pretty much it. Like the technical stuff that I wanted to cover. Just good kicks from Weidman, good hand position to land that lead hand, great chin.
But how about at the end of the second round where they're both trading?
Yeah.
And then the round stopped. But and Weidman's telling them, like, come on, bring it.
Yeah.
And he's throwing back. Then the round ends and they go forehead to forehead. And they're like,
both smiling.
And then Silva grabs Weidman's head. And I was like, oh my God, dude, I was so pumped, man.
Yeah. So third round, they're trading. Weidman had him shelled up against the fence at the end of the second round. Third round, they're trading a bunch. look, there was an eye poke where outstretched fingers from Weidman, lead punch, right punch from Bruno Silva, where here's the fist, right? The thumb came like this because it got caught on Weidman's eye. It did go in.
Yeah.
There's going to be people who are, let's not go to this picture yet, Rich. There's people who will say that was part of the punch, right? The thumb went in, but it was a punch. And then which, yes, it was. Punches are legal, obviously. Whereas Weidman's, he had outstretched fingers. Very different, right? One's a punch, one's outstretched fingers. But there is a weird gray area that people will debate over, which is it's still an accidental eye poke. Even though it was a punch, it was the thumb that got left behind and dragged across and went into Weidman's eye. So it came from a punch, but it is an accidental eye poke. And aren't they all accidental eye pokes, right? I don't really know where I stand on that, if I'm being honest.
Unless it's John Jones. I don't think those are very accidental.
No.
He's like...
and then, it's a tactic at that point. Real quick, shout out Austin. Can't stay to hang, but happy to finally catch a live stream for once. Last night was a weird event. Happy to see Weidman back, but dang, those eye pokes were brutal. Enjoy the rest of the stream. Shout out Austin.
Hey, shout out Austin timing, for sure.
Because now we'll go into the finish. And Rich, now we can go into that other picture. Bruno Silva's rushing in, and Weidman is like, no, trying to maintain distance with his hands. Hits him with the left hand eye poke. Hits him with the right hand eye poke. Hits him with the check hook. Check hook, he goes down. The 1-2 eye poke. Shout out Jesse. 1-2 eye poke. He goes down. Got him in both eyes. And Bruno Silva, he eats the check hook as he's already holding his eye, and he goes down. Ref stops it because he thinks it was the knockdown. And, it was the eye pokes. They give him a TKO.
First eye poke combo you've ever seen?
First eye poke 1-2 for sure.
That's right. And I was like, oh, is that a combo?
Yeah. They go
to
back.
The eyeballs?
So they go back and watch it. They take away the TKO, and they go to a unanimous technical decision for Weidman because at that point, the third round had already started. The fight ended with a foul with the replay. Determined it was ended with a foul. So they scored up until that point. Weidman won the first 2 rounds. He gets the win, right? That's what the rules are. That's what happens. Should he have been disqualified? I don't know. It's bad. For sure it's bad. What do you think? Because that's still my boy. And I'm very biased.
You remind me of the Dave Chappelle meme going around right now where he's like, did he do it? Yeah. But also,
Yeah.
like that's you right now.
That's my boy, dude. What can I say?
My problem with this is that there had been an eye poke before. There had been warnings where that ref was like, close the fist, both of you. Yeah. Fingers extended, close the fist. So there had been a stern warning with the first eye poke. There had been warnings without the eye poke when he was still extending his hand and his fingers. And then not only does he hit him with the 1, but to Jesse's point, he hits him with the 1-2 eye poke, the classic 1-2. And so if I'm like, I wouldn't be surprised if we see this overturned to a no contest.
That's never going to happen, dude.
You don't think so?
Athletic commissions do not overturn stuff. That's not going to happen.
If there's ever one to do it on, I think it should be this one.
There's been some strong cases. I don't think they're ever touching that. They never go back on it because they never hit mistakes. I think Copeland should have taken a point on the double eye poke. He should have taken a point from Weidman in that situation.
Copeland's on.
Yeah, he's real bad. Dude, every fight I watched where there was like something happening, it was him.
Yeah, give me Chris Tognoni over this guy.
Yeah. Bork Lesnar, dude.
Tognoni back there like, is this what y'all wanted?
Yeah. You guys could have had me in there. But I think you take a point in that second round from that eye poke where the double poke. You take a point from Weidman because, like you said, he already had a warning. They already know you can't do this. You can't eye poke. Yes, accidental, all that stuff. But if you take a point, there's not going to be any more reaching with those fingers out. You can get away with it. Clearly, you can just keep doing it and get away with it. So why would you stop? Because it is very good to gauge distance and keep you in frame away, right? You can frame with a fist, but it's not as good. And if someone took a point, as my mom says, it's hard for you to say it. It is, but you need to start taking points, even though it's accidental, because the reality is it affects the fight no matter what. They know the rules. It's against the rule. It's not. Look, it's not against the rules only for purposeful eye pokes. Accidental eye pokes are also against the rules. So just because it's an accident doesn't mean you get away with it.
Yeah, and there's
right?
been a lot of fighters going on publicly and talking about the gloves over and over and over again. I believe Justin
Yeah.
Gaethje was very vocal about it last night too, saying like, "Hey,
Well, because he's Trevor Whitman's boy.
yeah, that's true." But he's like, not only do these gloves force your hand to stay open, but also cut off circulation in your fingers. Very uncomfortable, like going off, right?
Yep.
So something's got to be done, man. And we're just talking about one fight right now. The entire night
The next fight, we're going to
was
talk
full
about it
of
too.
eye pokes, nut
Yeah.
shots, you name it. There was a plethora.
Yeah. Austin says,
All night
before I
long.
leave, I'll say, is that with the replays available, this should have been a no contest at the very least. Like, are the rules suggestions or not? You shouldn't win by fouling repeatedly ever. Yeah, I
That's what
mean,
I'm saying. No contest. Give me a no
well, so
contest. That's what I would
no,
have done. I wouldn't have
no
DQ'd
contest
him.
is
I
the
would
right
have just said no contest.
no contest is the right move. Because I don't think he's purposefully eye poking him, right? You DQ for purposeful fouls, I think. Austin says, like, it's the same exact thing with fence grabs. They literally slap fighters on the hands as if they're toddlers. We need to stop allowing people to get away with breaking the rules, intentional or not. You take a point. They know the rules.
Yeah.
And look, fence grabs are always intentional. You could say, as you're getting taken down, it's instinct to reach, but it's still intentional. You don't accidentally grab the fence and pull
Or go
yourself
old
up.
school
Like,
John McCarthy and just be like, look, let's just start it again. Let's go. Let's go
oh,
again.
brutal, dude.
Let's
That was
pick up where
brutal.
we left off.
I think you have to take a point. You get one warning for eye pokes, I think, one warning for groin strikes. Eventually, people will be more careful with things like that because it's accidental, but it's really lazy. I think it happens because you're careless about it because there's no repercussions. So you have to take a point. All this stuff. And Ganscow says, yeah, they can't do a no
Combination of
contest after
things.
the third round starts. The rules would have to be changed. I think they probably should. I think that's a weird rule, anyways.
Mhm.
But most of the rules
Yeah, because they have to go to the
terrible.
scorecard, right? They have to go to the scorecard at
But
that point.
most
Yeah,
of the
you're right.
rules are just like ridiculous, and you're like, wait, why is it like that? And they're like, well, because that's what we decided when we made them. And you're like, is that the only reason? Is that what's best for the sport? And then they're like, we don't want to change our opinions because that's weak. It's
And
weak
here
to
we
say
have
we
the
were wrong.
NFL changing rules every season, for player safety or all these
Baseball's
different
doing
things
all
that
that
we
shit.
get.
There's a middle
Yeah,
area. I
baseball,
don't want
they
that.
are ruining it though. Baseball's ruining it.
Yeah, it's
So
dog
is
shit.
NFL. But I love the fact that they're willing to look into and say, like, hey, if we have to make a rule change, we have to make a rule change.
Well, here's the difference. With at least I can't speak about the NFL, but with baseball, they keep changing rules because they're like, this will make more people watch it instead of this makes the game better.
Then you have the
Whereas,
hardcores that are like, I'm not gonna watch this anymore.
yeah,
You're making it
it's turning
worse.
me off. Yeah. Right. Chris Weidman's still my boy. I don't give a fuck. He's back. USADA's gone. Weidman's back. That's my boy. He will
To
always be my
summarize,
boy. And we can move on.
there we go. All right. We also had Ruziboev versus Dumas or Dumas.
You call him dumbass. The
Dumas.
guy's been arrested like
Dumas?
12 fucking times for battery and domestic violence, including one this year. And they still let him fight for some reason. So I'm just going to call him dumbass the whole time. Shout out Coleslaw says, my grandpa always said, if you're not cheating, you're not trying. That's as American as it gets. Classic.
Blender Bub Will. Chris Weidman, defense attorney, 100%.
But did he do it? Yeah.
Yeah.
But
also,
yeah. But yeah, Ruziboev, very good. Obviously very good. He caught him early with that right hand, that right cross. Ganscow says, did he have an ankle monitor while he was in the cage? Probably should have. I don't know how they're still letting this guy fight. He literally got arrested in like February for like on like felony battery charges. And it's like,
allegedly.
What the hell's going on? Allegedly, yeah. Well, he did get arrested. The charges are alleged. The arrested was a fact.
Ruziboev looks like he could be a Shafkar Rachmanov's cousin or something.
Oh yeah, totally. But he caught him with that right cross immediately. and it was like, oh, that's good. And then Dumbass would just keep coming in and trying to throw that combo, and he's dipping his head, and Ruziboev's like, oh, cool, I'll just switch and now start throwing this right uppercut. Normally, you don't want to throw the rear uppercut before anything else because it really leaves Kozlov as innocent until proven guilty, guys. That's true. That's true.
Unless it's Weidman for Will, then he's just innocent all the time, no matter what.
Innocent all the time. You're gonna have to really make a case. He broke his leg in half. Give him a break, huh? But Ruziboev ends up throwing that right uppercut. Beautiful, dude. He timed it over and over and over again. There's that right hand. There's the uppercut. He just kept throwing it, and Dumbass just kept. He was there for it. And it's like, dude, if you could just feint and draw that uppercut out, because look, the reason you don't throw naked uppercuts, traditionally, you don't want to throw a rear uppercut without any setup or anything like that, because look at his chin right now and look at both his hands.
Yeah, you leave yourself open.
Completely open. So if he could just feint and draw that uppercut and then catch him while he's open, that's what you would want to do. But instead, he just kept entering the same exact way. And then Ruziboev's like, I'll stop throwing the uppercut, and now this time when you come in, I'm going to frame on your face, and I'm going to dig my fingers in your eye. And then while you look at the ref complaining about it, I'm going to catch you with this shovel hook.
What a good strategy. Just so as they drew it up, man.
Yeah. I mean, first off, you can't call your own timeout.
You know what? Like, you could see the eye poke in the replay. But also, this is exactly what I've been saying the entire time, where it's like, ref, if you don't see it, let it play.
Whoa.
Let it keep on going.
You sound like me in the Weidman fight right now.
No, I'm just saying, man. Like, if you don't see it, ref, if you don't see it with your own eyes,
it's a TKO, just like Weidman.
Then let it play out. Let it play out, right?
Yeah, and you sound like Weidman. You can't just drop to the floor after you get eye poked.
hey, look, I will say this. In Weidman's defense, if the ref doesn't stop it, it's protect yourself at all times.
Yeah, true. You know. Oh, look at that thumbs up.
Yeah, because then you can end up just like Dumbass here. You know, you can end up like Silva, where the entire time you're complaining and waving over at the ref. The ref hasn't stopped it, dude. It's fair game. And
you can't stop.
Ruziboev, to his point, he's like, "What am I gonna do? Like, ref didn't stop it. I'm gonna go after him." And did he ever?
And
like launched at him.
Yeah, and I genuinely don't think he realized that he eye poked him. Because when you're in the mix like that, it's not like, and it's not intentional, right? So like, it's just, he was like, I probably cracked him, because he did crack him right after this, and he probably was like, oh, he probably broke his eye socket. I'm gonna finish this right now, because he didn't know that he eye poked him. Genevieve says there's never any yellow cards in UFC. They should start doing purse deductions when they take points. They need to just bring in yellow cards. Yellow cards were great in Pride. They're great in One. There's a place for yellow cards.
The problem is that they didn't come up with that rule in UFC.
Yeah, true.
They'd be bringing in a rule from the outside, and that's the problem. That's why they won't do it.
Yeah.
Ego.
We were perfect the first time we started this. We can't make any changes.
Rough, dude.
But yeah, Ruziboev gets the finish right there off the eye poke, and then that was pretty much it. But I like the uppercuts.
To Ruziboev.
Yeah.
We can go on to the next fight. We also had Kyle Nelson versus Bill Algeo.
Was this another one where a ref made a mistake?
All night.
I think
so.
All
night. Holy smokes, man. What a night, huh?
There's people who will defend this one, and I get it. It was borderline, but I think this was
he on skates? He was on skates.
Yeah. Have we seen people recover from being on skates? All the time.
Part of the game, dude. It is part of the game. Was this the same ref?
It was Copeland,
I feel like he had early stoppages all night, I feel like.
Yeah, he did. And this one, Bill Algeo, I love this right here, because Bill Algeo is so unconventional, and he switches stances, and he doesn't switch stances when he's outside. He'll switch stances right in front of you, and you have to punish him for that. He's got great head movement. Here he is anticipating a punch from Kyle Nelson, and he's so unorthodox in the way he rolls with shots that his leg is just planted so that he can roll, and Kyle Nelson just throws that nice outside leg kick. And it's like, dude, that is what you need to do against someone like Bill Algeo. You have to punish him for being unorthodox. People will let you get away with stuff like that because they don't want to get caught with some weird spinning back fist that they don't see coming or something. But sometimes you have to hit them in those moments where they're in between these unorthodox movements. And Kyle Nelson, I thought, was doing it perfect job of that the whole first round, the whole fight. Algeo got caught a couple times where he's leaning away, thinking that he's already gone, and Cal Nelson's just there for him. But that being said, when it got time to scrap and Cal Nelson rocked him, Bill Algeo fucking dug deep, dude, and started throwing back. It was awesome.
I mean, that's classic Algeo.
Yeah,
You know,
100%.
he's done that even on his. Who did he fight in his debut, short notice debut?
Oh, was it Barcelos maybe? No,
I can't remember, but I just remember thinking like in
it
his
was
debut,
like, oh, damn, that's a tough fight.
he was on skates too, and Ricardo
Lamas. Yeah, that was a banger.
That's what it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
But he did really, really well.
Yeah.
And it was the same thing though. He gets caught and he's like on skates a little bit, but then he comes back and he actually puts up a fight. He just wasn't given the opportunity this time.
No, you gotta let him. Ganskow says, I defend this stop. LOL. He was already being dropped and wasn't intelligently defending himself by getting rocked by every shot. Borderline though. I just feel like he was throwing back. You know, like it was just it is borderline. It's 100% borderline. I could see the argument for both sides for this stoppage. Genevieve says Gary Copeland had a weird night. He was like an overprotective helicopter mom all night. I'm all for prioritizing safety, but like really you can let things go another 5 seconds. But then Blunderbuff says, I didn't mind this stop. Algeo wasn't returning anything except for his
and Austin says, no, this is a bad stoppage.
Yeah,
I love this.
Borderline.
I love it. You know what? But in moments like this, everybody, I just think to myself, WWMD, what would Mario Yamasaki do?
Oh, man.
And he would have just let it keep on going. We would have found out whether it would have been too early or too soon. Like, you let that fight go on another 30 seconds. You know who's going to tell you if you should have stopped it back then? Algeo. Algeo would have told you. Right now, there's just too much up in the air. We don't know because, again, we have seen Algeo in the exact same situation before against Ricardo Lamas. Exact same thing on skates. And he actually recovered after he looked just like that and put up a really good fight the rest of the way, right?
Yeah.
So, look, it's close. It's super close.
This isn't an amateur fight, dude. That's where I say if you're on your skates and you're doing that kind of stuff and it's amateur, yeah, I'm fine with standing TKO there. But unless you're shelled up and you're just not there for anything, or it's like getting really bad, like he's still there, dude. He was still there. Like, I don't like this stoppage. It is borderline, but I'm on the other side of that line. I don't think it was a good stoppage. The rain
on Copeland, dude.
Rain
on Copeland.
It wasn't the worst stoppage, right? Obviously, it was borderline, and it is a good win from Cal Nelson because he looked very good.
Does USADA test refs?
USADA doesn't test anybody anymore.
Look at that guy. Jeez, I will give this a Copeland, man. He's got some solid arms.
Yeah, dude.
Savage. Yeah. All right.
That's it, though.
we'll move on to the next fight we're going to cover. We have Nate Landwehr versus Jamall Emmers.
Yeah, switching to the prelims. Nate the Train, dude. This was when they announced this fight, it was like, all right, sign me up. This is good.
100%.
Because Jamall Emmers, fucking sniper, dude. He's got that snake fucking snapping punches, those long, straight punches. And then Nate the Train is just there for it all the time, dude. He doesn't give a fuck about what you're throwing at him. Does not care.
After watching this fight, you know what it made me think of? The very first thing that came to my head after watching this fight was Teddy Atlas talking about the fire. You're a firefighter. You know, you run into the fire. You walk
into the fire.
That's Landwehr, dude.
100%.
That is Landwehr 100%. He's a firefighter. He gets caught with something. He gets wobbled. What was that? Like a overhand right that caught him like near the temple where like you see him like get stunned for a second. Like he stops and stares at nothing. Then
within the first minute. It was within the first minute. Emmers hits him with that long jab and then stutter steps and then goes long right cross over the shoulder and puts him down with it. And you're like, oh, and then Nate gets up. And for the first 2 minutes, it was just all Jamall Emmers. Just long, straight punches. Landwehr just couldn't really get anything going. That right hook to the body from Emmers was nice. And then they show at like 2.5 minutes in, they show the stats, and it's like 22 significant strikes for Jamall Emmers, 2 for Nate Landwehr. And then, but all of a sudden, it's Nate who's walking forward. It's not Jamall Emmers walking forward anymore. And I think this moment right here, they clinch for a second, they frame, Jamall Emmers frames, hits him with that elbow over the top, cuts him open immediately. And I think that was the beginning of the end for Jamall Emmers, because once he cut him and he started bleeding, Nate was like, I'm not accepting this anymore. And then Jamall was, for a while, Nate was walking in, and before he could even start to throw something, he was eating a jab. He was eating a cross from Jamall. After that elbow, I think Jamall was like, I like that. And every time after that, when Nate would come in, he would reach for him to try to clinch so he could start landing that elbow again or work off the clinch. But instead, Nate was just catching him every time he was reaching for him. And that was like the tide turning moment. Once you cut him open, it was like, oh, dude, you activated him. You turned it on. This is not good.
Dude, if you don't put Landwehr out when you are putting out that much energy and you're expending that much energy trying to put him out, you're done. Like, just go through, blitz Landwehr, try to take him out. But if you don't, you might as well turn around and be like, I tried.
I did my best.
I'm good. Hey, throw in the towel because this guy's going to come at me like an animal right now. Yeah, I love Landwehr, dude.
Me too. And I think because of his style and the way he talks and like what he looks like, I think people miss the fact that he's actually pretty cerebral in there too.
Yep.
Like he's not only has he improved throughout his fights, but he finds openings and really creative openings. Because once Jamall started reaching for him, he was like, bam, right down the middle through the guard, or they clinched at one point and he just starts spamming uppercuts, and you're like, hell yeah, dude, that's good shit right there. That's what you want to do in the clinch. If someone's trying to go over the top with the elbow, you want to beat them to that elbow while they're over the top. You hit them with the uppercut. There's no way that elbow's landing. And then the last time, the finishing sequence, Jamall Emmers reaches for him, and he just goes rear uppercut, just like Ruziboev. Rear uppercut straight through the middle, cracks him. Then he grabs him, hits him with a nice right hand over the top, and then that puts him on skates, drops him, hammer fist while he's on the ground. And then the interview. Feeling like Jean-Claude Van Damme. Fucking love it, dude.
Look at this bicep.
Look at Bisping, dude.
Oh, so good, man. Such a good picture.
I feel like a young Jean-Claude Van Damme. Look at this bicep. Oh, dude. Man.
Such a good picture. I love it, man. I'm here for any one of Landwehr's fights.
Yeah, just every single time he fights, you have to watch it. He's must-watch TV. 100%.
I would have rather seen this in the main event. All right. We're going to continue skipping a few fights here. We also had Aslan versus Turkalj.
Yeah, we're skipping some. Ibo Aslan versus Anton Turkalj, the pleasure man. Every card needs a zero technique sloppy banger. Yeah. Every card needs at least one.
Yeah.
And this was that one. Turkalj coming in, he's lost. He fought like Jalton Almeida. He fought Tyson Pedro. He's been smoked pretty much in every fight he's had in the UFC so far. He comes out the first round just tagging Aslan, tagging him over and over again. Second round, Aslan's like, all right, I'm throwing back. And they just stood in the middle and were just exchanging. And they showed a replay at the end of the round of that exchange where they're standing in the center, toe to toe, swinging. And they're like, they kept talking about how Aslan was like not throwing the right technique and he was too wild and he's missing because he's loading up too much. Meanwhile, they're showing the replay and it's like he's landing every single punch he's throwing. Meanwhile, Turkalj's missing all his shots. And you're like, I'm pretty sure Aslan just took that round. But they were just standing in the pocket. Turkalj's chin looked great, eating big shots. And he was,
but you can only do that for so long, you know?
Yeah, true.
Like Weidman, Silva, second round. It wasn't super sloppy, but it was a banger, right?
Yeah.
But then they didn't come out the third round doing the exact same thing.
No.
So it's like, it's fun. I'm here for it as a fan. Like, yes, give me more. But if you're Turkalj, you got away with some shots.
You got away with some shit right there.
You can only take so many, dude, before you have to go down.
And then in the third round, right?
Yes, third round.
Yeah, third round. Blunderop says, I think this is the one where I was on my phone And Genevieve yelled at me, "You're missing a slobber knocker." It was, dude.
Awesome.
Sometimes you need a sloppy banger. But eventually, Aslan lands that big right hand, shakes him out. He goes down, and again, Copeland stops it. I'm like, dude, what are you doing?
Yeah. Rough
Look,
night.
he went down bad, but if we're gonna go back to it, Big John McCarthy, one of the things he does do well is he has grades for knockdowns. And one of the grades is, and it's the lowest grade, by the way, is when you go down and you land on your butt and your hands are already on the mat and you're still sitting upright. And that's what happened here. Turkalj went down, he wobbled, he went down, hands on the mat. He's watching Aslan the whole time. It's not like he was staring off over here. And he jumps in before any follow-up shots. Look, was he about to get lit up and
100%.
probably stopped? 100%.
He
But
was coming in Thor
Yeah, it was
style,
bad.
dude. Like without the hammer in his hand.
Yeah.
But he like cocked it back. He's coming in ready to go. Turkalj like looking at him wide eyes, dude.
Let it
Wide open.
happen.
He's like, I'm about to eat it, dude.
Let it happen. We need finality on this shit, dude. Look, these are grown men. They're fighters. They signed up for this. Again, not the worst stoppage either, but I would have let it go for another second.
Oh man.
This wasn't a
California
walk
Athletic
off.
Commission. Let's get Will in there ASAP. Let's get him in there
Let's go.
ASAP. Let's just see how it goes. We'll test the
It's
water.
gonna be bad. It's gonna be bad, dude. There's no way I could be a ref, dude. I'd be so bad at it.
Oh, man. There's
but
only
fun
one way to
fight.
find out.
It was a
Only one way to
banger.
find out. All right.
Very low level, but definitely a banger.
Last fight we're going to cover. We have Jacob Malkoun versus Andre Petroski.
What a fight. Jacob Malkoun. Did you watch that video I sent you, by the way?
Which
earlier
one?
in the week about Malkoun, the breakdown. Jack Slack did a nice little filthy casuals guide to his single leg, which is very interesting.
Oh, no, I didn't watch it.
And he tried to do it. He has a move where he lands every single. If you haven't watched it, watch the filthy casuals guide that Jack Slack did. But he always goes for that head outside single, and he gets his leg in between yours, and then he steps through to your planted leg and kicks it out from behind, and then he just turns you over. He does it over and over and over again. It's unstoppable until he fought Petroski. He tried to do it with Petroski. Petroski just framed off, pushed away, so he couldn't get his head to the outside and reach down. And he couldn't get it. But one thing that he did really well in this fight was double jab. People don't double jab enough, and he double jabbed a couple times, and Petroski was like stunned, and he kind of wobbled him a little bit early in the fight with that double jab. But then Petroski
he had a very stiff jab.
Yeah, and I wonder, did Petroski get like knocked out in camp or something? Because it was a stiff jab, but
taking him down though.
Yeah, it was stiff for sure, but like it was wobbling him like pretty clearly. But he also dropped Jacob in that first round to a knee at least, and then he got back up like pretty much right away. But and then they clinched in defense, some cool grappling there, but mostly just defensive grappling from Petroski. But it was cool because that single leg from Malkoun is very good, and he just didn't let him get to it. And then second round, right? Second round.
Yeah. Second round.
Petroski shoots for a takedown, and this makes me also think maybe he got knocked out in training camp or something, because he shot for a takedown and hits the side of his head on the hip of Malkoun and is just gone. And look, Copeland's in this one too. The guy's the fucking magnet for weird fights. But
and honestly, this was not on Copeland. No.
It's not on him, but it's like, dude, if he's involved, just expect some weird shit,
Oh my God.
He's drawn to weird fights. So he shoots on him. Malkoun shrugs him off because he's like out on his feet. And Petroski literally just stands there like, oh, he looks like someone on fentanyl or something, just fucking frozen. And you're like, what the hell? And then he just goes down to his hands. Malkoun just runs at him and fucking soccer kicks him to the body, dude.
Right
so
on the ribs. Look at.
Oh my God, dude. Brutal. Ganska says, I think the strike to the head as he was going in for the takedown did more damage than people realized. In slow-mo, it lands right behind the ear and his head recoils from it. I'll have to go back and watch that. But we have seen people get rocked from hitting their head on the hip. You go temple to hip bone, and it is rough. It could stun you.
The Ganska point, though, if they go slow motion, you could see the left hand like kind of graze right behind the ear, kind of. And I thought about that too, and I was like, maybe that had something to do with him being dazed. But it was just everything was so weird from the time that he gets grazed to the time that he goes for the takedown. The way that he releases the takedown and kind of just stumbles forward all awkwardly and stays on all fours. It was so weird.
Yeah. Blunderbow says I had a teammate go out with a concussion the same way in wrestling. Brutal. Look, that is something that happens if you go head to hip. I'm trying to find it. Petroski's coach did say it was from the hip. After I forgot who the reporter was. But they talked to him after, and he confirmed that it was just him hitting his head on the hip when he shot on him, and it
Is that what it
completely
was?
rocked him. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But also he might think that, and it could have been the left hand. He was like already gone, so he just thinks it was that. But good win for Malkoun. He gets the finish.
Yeah.
I think it's his first finish.
Good for him. Those are all the fights we're going to cover from last night's banger of a card.
Yeah. Look, there was more that I still need to go back and watch some of them.
Do we have a moment of silence, though?
We got a moment of silence. What do we got? What was on this? What do we have here from the moment of silence?
Have the picture. There it is.
Dominic Reyes versus Carlos Olberg. Reyes withdrew. Thank the Lord. I do not want to see that fight. Sean Brady was supposed to fight Luque. Sean Brady falls out. Buckley steps in. Very different matchup for Luque, unfortunately. Could have been a fun grappling fight against Sean Brady, but instead he got a berserker. Then Alonzo Menafield stepped in to fill in for Dominic Reyes to fight Olberg. Then that got rescheduled. Dudakova and Gatto fell through. Nate Landwehr was supposed to fight Pat Sabatini, and instead he got Jamall Emmers. They talked about it during the fight too. They were like, "Yeah, he said he knows he got a more fan-friendly fight when he got Jamall Emmers." And then they were like talking. He's like, "Yeah, this fight would not be like this if it was Pat Sabatini." And I'm like, "Damn, dude, Pat Sabatini's just out here getting called boring." And he's like, "What the fuck, dude?"
That's hilarious. That's awesome. And then bonuses. Who got monies?
Who got the bonuses? Nate Landwehr got one for his stoppage over Jamall Emmers. We got Bazookia got one for his finish. I saw the finish, but I haven't watched the fight. How did he change his name? His nickname used to be Bazooka, and he changed it. Keep it Bazooka, dude. Your last name is Bazookia. Keep it Bazooka. And then fight of the night was Aslan versus Turkalj, because that's how low the bar was.
It was a fun fight, though.
It was a fun fight. It's just,
By the way,
I do like when prelims.
We had our boy Landry Ward fight LFA.
Talk about a banger.
Holy,
that was a real banger.
Man. Oh my god.
Main event.
Y'all haven't had an opportunity to go see the main event for LFA 180. Friend of the podcast, Landry Ward fought, and dude, it was a bloody mess. Genevieve would have loved it.
Yeah.
And all the way down until the very last second, feet planted, throwing blows. It was insane.
Dude, actually, keep talking about that while I pull this up, because in the second round, he hurt him with a leg kick at the end of the second round. Landry did.
Yes.
And then going into the third, it was like, all right, dude, you need to finish. And he was like, the leg's the most compromised. I'll go for that. Oh, my God. That third round, the leg kicks.
We've been talking to Landry, and Landry tells us he broke his foot. He broke his right foot. And what do you say? He's like, I guess that's what happens when you end up kicking shins and knees.
Well, he posted. I'm pulling it up right now. That's why I wanted you to talk about it. Let me see real quick. I'm gonna share my screen because I found it. Ganska says that LFA fight was insanity. It was awesome, dude. And what a cool guy he fought too. Lance Lawrence, right? Seemed like a really cool guy. I've never seen him fight. Oh, actually, no. I watched him on the Contender Series. But here's Landry's feet. What happens when you spam low kicks and start kicking shins and knees? Oh my God. Oh my God, dude. Oh my God.
Balloon.
Yeah.
What a bang. And man, I know we ended up on the wrong side, right? Yeah. Taking that loss. But going in, he told me, he's like, I'm gonna put on the show. And he lived up to it, man. It was an absolute banger, fight of the year contender.
Dude, it was
Just so
so
much
good.
fun to watch.
Dude, he finishes the fight throwing a wheel kick. You see those feet, and you're like, how do you plant on a to throw a wheel kick with feet like that? It's just absolutely brutal, dude. But yeah, what a banger. Landry.
Yeah, we're gonna have him back on the podcast soon. He
Yeah,
said
we
he's
got
gonna let some of the cuts heal up and some of the swelling go down, and
Yeah.
he'll be hopping on for sure.
Ganskow says I was watching a fight companion for the LFA. The whole chat was going crazy. That's cool to see.
Heck yeah, man. Heck yeah.
Landry's always in bangers, dude.
Yeah, so somebody else said Landry Ward is allergic to boring fights.
Yeah,
Because
dude.
every single fight he's in is super exciting, man. So and I'm here for it. Shout out to you, Landry. I know you're going to be back stronger than ever and can't wait to get you back on the pod, my man.
100%.
All right. And then what do we got going on next week?
We got a lot next week. We got one
Ooh.
Lumpini, a one tentpole event. So this is pay-per-view. Superbond versus Murat Gregorian. Jonathan DeBella versus Prajan Chai. Nong O versus Kulab. Damn. Sex San's on the card. Mong Tai is back. Shadow's back. I don't know why he's so low. We got Jake Peacock. If you haven't seen him fight, definitely see him fight. We got Zhang Peimin. Oh my God, dude. What a banger. What a banger. I think it's $25 for the pay-per-view, or you can pay $75 for all 4 pay-per-views for the year. Pretty solid. I like when they do bundles
75
like that.
for all 4 pay-per-views for the year?
I mean, come on.
It's a no-brainer, dude.
It's a no-brainer. And you know they're going to be bangers.
Smoke.
And then we also have later in the night, we have one Fight Night 21, Regan Earsol versus Alexis Nicolas. Ty Rotolo defending his belt. In grappling, we got Sua Black back in there with his crazy-ass legs against Vladimir Kuzmin, who just got the win over in Qatar. We got my boy Ben Tynan. Vanilla Thunder's back. We got Kate Rotolo on here. Yeah, it's a good one. It's a good one.
Oh, man.
Tetsuka's back again. And then we got the UFC. We got three events. We got the UFC. We got back at the Apex. We got Chris Curtis versus Brendan Allen in the main event. We got a co-main event between Damon Jackson and Alex Hernandez. Mondes is back. We got Trevor Peake in there. Morono versus McGee's a banger.
That's a fun one.
That's a fun one. Jermaine Durandamy's back.
Where's she been?
Yeah, who knows, dude. Ganskow says this podcast needs to be 5 hours long. Dude, I would do it. But look.
Oh, your girl Cynthia Calvillo's on?
Yeah, it is.
Oh my goodness.
It is a very good week for one to have a tentpole Lumpini event and a fight night to compete against a UFC Apex card. Lined up perfectly. Very good job.
Yeah. All right. Do we have anything else? Was that it?
I think that's going to be it.
Well, shout out to Ganskow, Blunderbub, Genevieve, of course, Colleen, Brian, Coleslaw. Am I missing anybody? Jesse. Yeah, it's always so much fun whenever anybody joins us live, and that way we can chat up fights together and have some good laughs about these banger of the cards that are being put on. And of course, yeah.
1 sec. Ganskow says, I'm a degenerate hardcore and watched 6 or 7 different cards this weekend. Please tell me you saw that Rumble down in Mexico. That shit was so fucking fun, dude. I'll send it to you, Ramiro. It's just dudes out there. They put up a ring. They do it. It's a special event. They're just out there swanging and banging, dude, in jeans and shit. It's fucking awesome. I'll send you.
What?
I'll send you it, dude. It's fucking awesome,
What are you
dude.
talking about?
It's so sick.
My God. It gets deeper and deeper every week. I'm terrified right now. In blue jeans, says Ganskow. LOL.
Yeah, it's awesome.
All right. But yeah, so
sponsored by Levi's or some shit. I think was it you that tweeted that, Ganskow? I saw someone tweet about this event was sponsored by Levi's or something. It might have been Ganskow. That's so funny. If it wasn't you, take credit for it.
We're trying to reach 13,000 subscribers. We're steady climbing. Tell your friends, tell your mamas, tell your papas. Subscribe if they like mixed martial arts. If you don't like watching on YouTube, but you like listening, where can they find us, Will?
Yeah, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts. We're also on Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Reddit, everywhere. Ganskow says that was me. I think it was. I saw that shit. That made me laugh. PFL starts Thursday. Dude, it's crazy. There's so many fights, huh? Yeah, Cage Warriors? You see that Bucky choke? The Bucky choke in Cage Warriors?
Yes. Oh, dude. That was legit.
Yeah.
That was
the
legit.
dentist got
I thought he was gonna be able to get
someone
out of
got
it.
knocked out. Yeah, same. He did once, but sometimes you gotta try again. But yeah, we can wrap it up.
And in case anybody was wondering who produces this podcast, it's none other than Richard Bustos, everybody. Richard Bustos. Much peace to everybody. There we go. All right, everybody. Thanks for joining us for another week of Story of the Fight.